The city of Taft is left heartbroken after 4 men were shot to death and another left injured after a shooting broke out at a toddler's birthday party. Tonight, neighbors shocked about this awful tragedy. In tonight's top story, our Madeline Dart joins us with what some of them are saying.
Bad situation for both families. The victims, we are told, are all related to each other. Neighbors in the area are shaken up, saying they never expected such violence to happen in their small town. They say it's a relatively quiet area and everyone is friendly, but after such violence at a birthday party, residents are on edge, especially because one of the suspects is still at large.
For us being a small community, we should all be together and pray for everyone, that everyone has a happy ending instead of this ugly crime that we just happen to run to.
Officials say one of the suspects, 20-year-old Ronnie Rodriguez, was found and booked into the San Patricio County Jail. 37-year-old Ronnie Rodriguez Sr. is still on the run. And officials are asking the public's help in finding Rodriguez Sr. Here's their number. If you know his whereabouts or have any information that could lead to finding him, they're asking you to contact them. Michelle.